Hello everyone, we're back with Mark's Design Room. It's exactly what it says on the tin, Mark's Design Room. I'm Mark, and this is the room where we design things. That room is Blender, the 3D program that I use. And this type of content I know has very limited appeal, but there are a few people who do watch this, and I have seen people comment on this stuff. If you are at all interested in how it is that I'm producing these 3D elements for my channel, this is where you kind of learn how I'm doing it. Learning something is hard. Doing something is easy. Teaching something is practically impossible. It's the hardest one of all. I'm not a teacher. I don't know how to teach you, but I can show you. And how I learned things was brute forcing it by finding people who I thought were cool and trying to emulate them. See, that's how stupid people learn, and that's how I learned it. Someone else was doing it. Hey, if that idiot can do it, I can do it too. Now look. So maybe if you know what you're doing with this program, you can tell I'm self-taught. Just brute forcing it. For years, it was painful. And then for years after that, I couldn't stop doing it. And I do it every day, all day. If you just leave me alone, I'm pretty sure it's all I would do is play around in Blender. Reviewing Star Trek episodes, be damned. I picked this up to learn how to make Star Trek ships, and by gum, that's what I'm going to do. And here we are with Mark's Design Room, and we're going to be taking a look at the Dingwall, the new bridge, to go along with the the remaster, so to speak, of the USS Dingwall that I'm sure you all loved, and a few other things. We're going to be looking at another ship that's in production, that's basically done, another piece of art for my Deviant Art that's pretty much done, as I said, and a few other things. So let's just get right into it. Let's see what's happening, and we're looking at this. Basically, it's 99% done, for my purposes. Our old version of the bridge was done in Blender 2.7, and if I'm honest with you, a lot of those early assets that went into this channel were made as a joke. Like, I didn't think, everything came together kind of accidentally. I had no idea what the heck I was doing. I was just having fun. So things ended up looking ugly because they were grandfathered in, so to speak. That's how a lot of projects start out. They start out as a joke, and then years later, you end up with your initial code base for that game or project or whatever it is spaghetti. And that's why. And a lot of the assets I had early on this channel didn't make any sense. They were not hygienic. They were not designed in keeping with the convention of 3D modeling. And this refresh is now my opportunity to say, okay, now I know what I actually want it to do, right? It's not just a joke. So, but yet I still try to maintain that silliness, right? You've seen it with the new USS Dingwall. I've seen it in the comments. I'm very happy with the comments. I'm very happy with the people saying this is like peak Daedalus class derived dorky design. This is so ugly and dorky, and I keep getting these same words that I was looking for. This is what I want. I want dorky, silly, but possible. Kind of like the Cerritos. And someone did mention the USS Cerritos, although this predates it. You're on the right track, though. Alright, let's just press 5. Maybe I should get one of those key logging things that puts it on the screen so you can see what I'm doing. Would that help anybody? I have no idea. Is anybody learning from this? I have no idea. 5 is going to switch my view to outside and flat. And then I can, this is like orthometric, and then press 5 again to go perspective. Okay, zoom in with my mouse wheel. Here's the view from the bridge. This is what it looks like when I'm on the bridge, when I'm going to be reviewing something. Lower Decks coming up, by the way, final season. I did see that trailer. It was so short, and we're so close to it. Do I need to comment on it? I don't know. This might be the last video before Lower Decks starts. I have no idea. So this bridge is animated. I can go down to my timeline. Where are you, timeline? There you are. Go back. Play. Check this out. Look, it's just like old Star Trek. Just a bunch of useless crap. What do they used to call it? GNDNs. That's what they used to call it. Goes nowhere, does nothing. GNDNs, right? Goes nowhere and does nothing. That's what all this stuff is, really, in a nutshell. It all just goes nowhere and it does nothing. But, I mean, the idea is that while watching it, you think things are happening. Oh, look, these things are flashing. That's cool. This little screen here changes at some point, too. Doesn't it? Yeah, look. It's whatever that is. And then eventually, it switches to that. Here's your tactical station. I removed the chair, by the way. One of my ideas for this refresh was to move closer to the screen and make the screen unrealistically big. Remember, the screen in TOS used to be small, and this is indeed an old ship. But now we have a gigantic screen, not in keeping with Star Trek of that era at all. And I moved closer to the screen. I got rid of the tactical position. So the person who was supposed to be a tactical here, I got rid of their chair. Uh-oh. And I moved a little bit closer in so you can get more action on screen. You want, your real estate for your screen is important. But at the same time, my videos have to look different. They have to look materially different. Every frame should not look like anyone else's frame. And we achieve that by being on this bridge. For better or for worse. I know what I want to do, and it's probably worse. But I like to design things. That's the only thing I care about, really, is designing these 3D assets. Here we have speculars. We have bump maps. We have bloom lighting. We have screen space reflection. And all these advanced features that came along with the new Blender version that we ported this into. Our pilot chair. The buttons on this do light up. We've got a little range finder, some throttles, fine-tuned throttles, maybe for translating the ship around with the RCS thrusters. I don't know. You got your flight stick. Got that thing from the cage. And you might be wondering, hold on, how does the screen work? I don't understand. Where's the screen? It just seems like there's nothing there. Well, that's in the other render layer. See? And the reason we're doing that is so that when I composite the final image together between these two, we don't have light spill. You see, in this version of Blender, that magenta screen that's meant for the chroma key is actually casting a slight pink light or magenta light on the rest of the scene. And you don't get it here, which is how it should look. So when this is all done, I'll be compositing them in post so we don't get that light spill. As of right now, if you do a screen space reflection in this version of Blender, it takes into account whatever is on screen. I can't get around it any way I can, as I can figure out. Old version of Blender, I could get around it and avoid that light spill. I can't really do it here. It's just different. This is Blender Eevee, the rendering engine. The old 2.7 engine is, I think it's just called Blender Render, which is still my favorite. But Eevee's pretty cool too. And it's not just, we didn't just update this to look better. We updated it for performance. Blender Eevee performs a lot better on my now old computer. And my computer, it's 10 years old now. I built it 10 years ago. It's getting a little old, and I'm getting a little bit scared that it's just going to blow up one day, and I can't afford another one. Should this computer blow up, that might be the end of the channel. Say it ain't so. But Blender Eevee performs a lot better. As you can see, we're viewing this in rendered view, and we're able to move around the camera in real time, which would never work in Blender 2.7, even though I do like the old Blender. Our screensavers here, the United Federation of Planets pennant type thing, displays when there's nothing else to display. Some kind of tactile display, a United Earth flag screen here for our tactical guide. These screens randomly changing, and I guess they all mean something. And they're very in keeping with TOS. You'll notice that as we turn around, things become less detailed because we're not done on that side, because we're not really going to be seeing it that much when we're on the bridge. Here's our MSD. That's old. This is new. You might remember this from TOS, and I think they brought it forward into TNG with the Galaxy class. Just a random orange on black screen of the ship from two angles. Yay. We had it in TOS, and we have it here. I just put in more wall panels, more goes nowhere, does nothing type things. Turbolift now says Turbolift 1. Conference room now says conference room. That's pretty cool. Again, the other side of the ship is science station, comms. They're almost the same, except they have screen updated to keep in line with the other side. The new captain's chair. Check this out. We got the wood. Wood is good, and here it is. And it's like lacquered. See that? Look how cool looking that is. It looks real. Let's check out the node structure for this for a moment. if you are curious and you know how to use nodes. This is a wave texture with the color going to A in a mix shader that goes to our base color. And the color from the wave texture goes to the height of a bump map node, which goes to our roughness, with the settings as follows. That's how we did it, and that's the result. It looks just like wood. Let's single it out. Check it. And our chair has just been remodeled a bit to be a little bit more in keeping with TOS. Made it a little bit less comfortable looking in keeping with TOS, because some of the things in TOS kind of looked uncomfortable, unorthodox. Our chair texture now much closer resembles the way that material would appear in reality. Again, all these materials now are more in keeping with reality. This carpet looks kind of like a carpet. It's kind of got dull, it's not super shiny, and there's a very small texture to it if you look closely. The piping here on everything is blue now. Blue, we're using blue as our accent color. This is very silver and blue and black bridge. Our handholds here, in case of zero gravity or when you just lean on something, are now blue in keeping with the railing. The trim on these panels is now blue, so you don't bump up against it so hard and cut into your stomach. Again, this is lifted from TOS. TOS panels often have that red bumper around them. We're using blue. And wherever there looked like there was a blandness to a wall, I just broke it down into panels, which is an age-old trick you do when you have a flat wall and you want to make it look complicated. Put panels on it. It's easy. Boink. I just put these on there and we're good. We're golden. Now it's not so bland. These things are taken off TOS. Look at the bridge shots on TOS, you'll see them. These are the red alert and alert condition lights that turn on during red alert or what have you, and much closer resemble what we're seeing in TOS in terms of how lights work, with that plastic kind of slight corrugated nature to it. Much more believable. My USS Dingwall dedication plaque, check that out. Is that shiny enough for you? The text is bump mapped, so it looks like it's like kind of embedded into it, like it's an extrude out or in, what have you. Just like how they look in real life. Of course, don't look too closely at the text. It doesn't make sense. Here's a secret look at what the dedication plaque actually says for you people. It's just a bunch of crap. Go online and type in random text or lorem ipsum, something like that, and you can actually just put out walls of random text that you can just copy and paste right into wherever you want, and they don't mean anything because it's not supposed to be seen. You're not supposed to actually see that from here, right? Yeah, go back and look at all kinds of assets from TNG, TOS, what have you. They often just say random stuff, or they say people's names or jokes, right? Because you're not supposed to see it. Until you do the HD remaster years later, and then you can unfortunately see it. So that's what we're looking at for the bridge as it goes right now. We're going to be seeing it in action soon, and I will just silently work on this for a moment, if you would allow that. I'm going to select these borders. And I'm going to select the wall. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to join them. I'm going to set the origin to the center. I'm going to go down to my modifiers, that tool icon, and I'm going to mirror it versus the wall so that hopefully this happens. But hopefully this happens. There we are. We got it. We got it. So we mirrored the entire thing to go on to the other side, which is what we wanted. Whoops. And then we want to apply. And then we want to select all P and separate them by loose parts. Okay, and then with them all selected still, we're going to set origin to center of mass, or center of surface. So now everything's back the way it was. Everything's copacetic, and we have our new borders on this side. And they look a little bit wonky. We might have to adjust some things here. These don't look exactly on center. That's fine so far. I mean, they're not animated anyway. So we're just going to quickly fix these up. Okay. Okay, we just got those two frames. Pull them up. Okay. They look a little bit more centered. It's good enough for me for right now, even though they're not animated. And there we go. We did a little bit of work. You can't say we didn't do any work today. You can't say we just didn't goof off. Although I consider playing around in Blender to mostly be goofing off. Like I said before, most things started as a joke, and then after a while they become something serious. Maybe that's not a smart way to do things. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to leave you with just a little video of the bridge doing stuff. Observe all the cool blinky lights and all that. Oh, look, I'm going to put it in the right aspect ratio. Look, we're watching TOS or something. Yay. Any thoughts? Is it bad? Is it good? Is it terrible? Is it amazing? This is one hell of a scene. This is a Picard era version of the Centaur. You know I love that ship. If you've been following along with this channel, if you've been following along with the channel really closely, you may have seen my community post where I spoiled a little bit of this ship. And let's take a look at our rendered view. Let's allow it to load. We're getting there. It's coming. I think... No, we're not done yet. It's coming. I think that's it. What do you think's going on here? I think this is a battle scene with our new version of the Centaur. You know from Picard Season 3, and maybe even Season 2, I don't know, when these Starfleet ships started showing up, that we started taking old ships and kind of updating them. And when we introduced the Titan, it turned out, oh no, wait, the Titan A, that's in a lineage of ships. There's ships like that all going all the way back to TOS. We just take an old design and change it around with new parts. That's our new kind of design philosophy. Weird, though, that it goes backwards in time. I don't know. Are we going to have a TOS version of the Galaxy class? Maybe that'd be cool. There's an idea. So here's a Picard Season 3, maybe pre-Season 3 version of the Centaur, with some other twists that I'm going to show you in a moment. By the way, what do you think's happening here? A battle scene? Is there a ship in there exploding? I think there might be. Are we firing a phaser at it? And we're at full impulse? We're really close to that sun. This could be dangerous. Let's take a gander at our zoomed in scene here. Oh no, what? What the heck? There was a ship in that. I think its warp core blew up. As you can see here, it has just enough detail to appear to be a ship. And I don't design just any ship. I design a ship that looks kind of cool. And here's just a random ship that I designed. In my mind, this is like a pirate ship. Our Starfleet vessel gave them every single opportunity to turn around and give up and turn themselves in. But no, they decided to keep fighting. So we destroyed their warp core. And they tried to maybe eject it. They couldn't do it in time. And they're now reeling from the explosion of that core. That's just what's going on in my mind. I don't really know exactly. But it's something like that. And there you can see it in the explosion. Yes, very dangerous. I hope we beamed everybody off. I'm not really sure. But let's take a look at our starship up close, shall we? And we don't need that planet. By the way, Where do you think that planet was orbiting that sun? Do you think it was far away? Here's how close it is. Forced perspective. Use it. Here we are. You may have already seen this ship if you've seen my community posts. What do you think? Ignore the, we'll get rid of the phaser beam for now. If you're curious, it's coming out of that phaser strip. It's not important right now. Here's our new Centaur. As a saucer that is based very closely on the Centaur that we knew and loved. Hopefully you loved it, I loved it. With a few updates. It's shiny, it's more complex, it's in keeping with what we saw in Picard Season 3. I don't really love the look of the Picard Season 3 ships, but I respect canon. So it looks like how it should look like. As in older. I don't know why the ships look older than they did in TNG, but they kind of do, to me anyway. Here it is. We got our big shuttle bay in the back here now. We're keeping that kind of like forward beak of the top dorsal section of the saucer. I like the square escape pods. We're keeping them. It's shiny. It's got all kinds of different paneling. Camera specific Aztec material. We're keeping that blue kind of green Starfleet look. We got an impulse drive here. Oh, an impulse drive's in the bottom. What the heck? Where's the neck? There's no neck in the middle. Here's an interesting little twist. Just put a little bit of a spice on it. We're cooking up a big stew, and I'm putting in a little bit of allspice. That tastes so good. What is that? It's my secret. I'm not telling anybody. I just told you, but in this one it's 2 necks. You've seen it on the Odyssey class. Why can't we do it here? Maybe you can consider the warp pylons on the Cerritos 2 necks? I don't know. I think the turbo lift goes down them. You know how the Cerritos is designed. But here we have like a free-floating secondary hull, this thing, that's taken, by the way, directly off the Duderstadt. Remember the USS Intrepid in Picard Season 3 Duderstadt class? This is lifted right off it with a few modifications for what we needed this ship to do. We put a phaser strip on the back as opposed to another dish. We put some new windows on it and some other little flourishes here, but it's generally the Duderstadt secondary hull. Floating on this wing, taken basically straight from Centaur. And it's locked in there with these 2 neck structures. At the back of each, featuring torpedo bays and impulse drives. So what we have here is a tough little ship we've created. No, it's not the Defiant, but it is big from the Defiant's point of view. I think from a heavy cruiser, it might be considered small. Gold standard, of course, for combat in these ships would be Defiant, because big is not always better. But I like to have something that has a multi-purpose as well, like a multi-mission, tactical, long-range, light cruiser, maybe you would call this. Again, we have the Picard Season 3 nacelles. We're reusing them. We did not update the NCC number. That's old. That's from some other ship. We got to fix that. I don't know what this ship's NCC number is. You'll also notice it doesn't have a name. If you have a really cool name, you can tell me in the comments. But it has to make sense. Everything I design makes sense. I'm trying very hard to make it make sense. Even to the point where I see this and I'm mentally complaining to myself that there's some things that might be a problem. I'm picky. Everybody is their own worst critic, after all. This is the new Picard Season 3, Season 2, what have you, Centaur. Hopefully it's detailed enough. And rendered view, of course, has no light on it. But it is cool to see a ship totally illuminated on its own. By the way, this ship, as of yet, I don't believe it has its own lighting, other than what you get from screen space reflection right here. Or I'm dreaming. Are we self-illuminating in any way? Yes, we are. But why are we not getting light? What is that? Where's the light? That should be working. Why is that not working? Okay, that's self-illuminating. What's the problem? The phaser is casting light on us. That's good, even though I deleted the phaser for this video. That should... What is this? We should be able to see the illumination of the docking ring. I don't know why we're not. Yeah, we all these light fixtures, I can see the lights, but maybe the lights are just being overblown with power from afar, and the light is being overexposed and we can't see them anymore. But we should be seeing the docking ring. Can we get it on the other side? We have that on the other side. It's weird that I forgot it. I keep looking at this and thinking that I'm missing it, and I'm going to accidentally create too much. Look, we already have one light illuminating the nacelle. Yeah, these should be moved. This one should be moved inward like this. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, that's not that bad. So we're going to repeat it with the other side. No, give me the top one. Yeah, I can believe that. I think I can see that happening. Yeah, you can see that docking port, right? Anyway, there's again a little bit of work for you. And these green windows here, maybe that's the Arboretum. Who can say? Although I should be able to say I designed it. If there's one person who can say, it's me. This is not animated in any way because this is meant for a single flat image for DeviantArt. I really like looking at this little sphere. This is freaking fun as hell. I also came up with this idea to have warp nacelles having a slight blue streak. What do you think of that? Yeah. Snazzy, I know. Just like the impulse drive having a streak. Snazzalicious. Although you can barely see the blue of the warp nacelles, which is intentional. We don't want to go overboard. We don't want to fly too close to the sun after all. Here's our nodes for the glow from the nacelles. All I'm doing is a gradient texture on the emission strength, so it looks like it falls off, kind of. And our an enormously complicated looking node structure for the light from the impulse drive. You can see it right here. Gradient to brightness again, the emission strength, and then face from gradient texture to bright again to color to emission strength. Noise texture, face to factor to result to emission. A good engineer makes complicated things simple, which isn't what I just did. So we should definitely be working on that. I have a habit of just trying things and then seeing what works out, and trying to not do what didn't work out, and trying to remember the good things. Maybe I'm not that good at that at times. Oh, what's this ship here? I don't quite recognize it. What is it? Oh, it's the Dingwall. If you don't know this ship by now, where have you been? This is the ship I'm on right now. And we're just taking a peek again, a gander, at our new remaster of this ship. If it'll ever load. If it'll ever load. It's slowly popping into. There it is. All of our shaders are loaded up and everything. And here it is. Closer peek. But I don't know what more you really need to see. I thought the video I did on this was pretty good. In terms of anything different, basically nothing. I think all I did since that video was put a like a cloud texture in here. Yeah, I did. See how it looks like there's kind of a cloudiness in there? That's all that's changed. And the cloud is morphing in a way that makes it appear random. Randomness is hard to achieve with these nacelles, but there is a feeling of like cloudy randomness in there that you need to have in order for this to kind of trick the eye into thinking, I'm looking at a real nacelle right now. I'm looking at a real nacelle from that TV show. Wow. Here we are. We have the little spikes, of course, because we're cool that way on the front of our nacelles. But we did upgrade this to a Constitution class saucer. Why not? Constitution class impulse drive, like I said in that video, taking right off. These things are literally taking off my Constitution class model. You know, like as what I always say, haste makes waste, and waste not, want not. So if I have a ship already made and looks good, you better believe I'm kit bashing. You better believe I'm stealing things off it, and I'm not letting anything go to waste. This is after all, this was always a Constitution class neck, but with a slightly different deck structure, as you can tell from the windows. Don't look too closely at the deck structure of this. I had a hard time. There's some decks on here that do not have windows. There's some decks on here that are not quite the right height because they're for something else other than, human occupation or whatever species you happen to be. So don't think about it that hard. But what is there? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. I'd say there's probably 18 decks here. Probably. I'm the one who should know. Who else in the world would know other than me? But there's probably 18, something like that. Making it shorter than the Constitution class. Yep. There she is. Let's check out with real lighting if we got it. Nope, we don't have a sun in the scene. I'm going to go add light, sun. And I'm just going to put it over here. And I'm going to R, rotate with my mouse, move it, R again, tilt it, go down to the properties for the light, power it up. That's too much. That's still a little bit too much. Alright. So there's some light for you. There's a 1-point light scheme. There's only 1 point of light. Typically what you would do is you go up, down, and all around. One on the bottom, like so. And then one opposing the other light source you originally had. So remember where that was? Yeah, we're going to oppose it. Like this. See how now they're kind of fighting each other? That's a very general all-purpose light scheme. I like to have the one below a little bit weaker, and I like to have the one over here a little bit weaker as well. There's kind of a believable light scheme that kind of tricks the eye into thinking this is really somewhere, even though it's nowhere. The 3-point lighting scheme here, you're looking at it. Again, what more do we need to see? You'll be seeing this baby in action for Lower Decks Season 5, Episode 1 review. I'll see you there. Do me a favor. Tell me what this ship is. I don't know. It just kind of came to me randomly. You know how I like to doodle on paper? Sometimes I draw something accidentally that looks pretty cool, and then I have to go home and I have to try to model it. This is one of those things. Do you know what it is? I don't know why this thing is jutting out like this. Don't ask me. I just made it. I just created it. Don't ask me. We have a kind of a recessed, sovereign style dish. Lots of big black panels. This is a style kind of after the physical construction of this thing, as so, like so, came about randomly. But then I decided, what is a design language just for the flat panels, for the hull livery, things like that, that would fit with this design, and I went with the USS Relativity. As you've seen with my flip-flop, remember the flip-flop? That weird ship I posted in my community post page? This is supposed to be styled after that now, just in terms of surface details. It's far from done. It's questionable in basically every way something could be questionable. And here it is. Like I said, do you know what it is? Do you know what it's called? Do you know what it's supposed to do? Is this a time ship? Is this a time heavy cruiser? You tell me. The design philosophy of the USS Relativity is something we don't see enough of. It would have been cool to see some old ships from that era showing up in like Discovery, like season 3, like when we went to the 31st or 32nd century. It would have been cool to see some of those old ships flying around, and you can see some iterations. Here's how I iterate on things. Select everything, and then you go Shift D, and then, oh look what happened. We got a bunch of them. We got more. See? That's how I iterate, because I don't want to lose something. Like, it's possible that kind of like you're working on a clay model, and every time you work on a clay model, you take away something, you shave something, and you can't go back that easily. Well, similarly, in Blender, or 3D rendering in general, I suppose, it's often a good idea to have the old versions lying around. So when I get a certain distance, I'll just duplicate and keep working on the duplicate, and put the old one somewhere else, in case I want to go back a few iterations. Like I've made a mistake that's really deeply ingrained and hard to get rid of this late into the game. You can see how we started off with a wireframe. I designed this one from wireframe because I knew the design was so weird that I wanted to have a sensible wireframe underpinning everything. Another wireframe. This one with a material, although the material is nothing. Another one. This is where I figured out the color it should be based on the USS Relativity. It's getting smoother. Okay, we're putting in a little bit. It's getting more dense polygonally. This one, that one, and then we arrive at our latest one, which I think is this one. And you can see that I don't have a clue what to do with the nacelles. I do not have a clue. Every single one of these has some kind of different nacelle thing going on. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this one. What do you think of that weird nacelle? I don't know. I can't figure it out. I've been sitting on this for a while now, and I don't know what to do with the nacelles. I can't come up with one that looks like it kind of could belong to the same Starfleet that created the the USS Relativity with Captain Braxton and the other fellow, Duquesne. Remember that? Was that Starfleet that made those? Yeah, they had the outfits. They had with the same kind of sideways Starfleet Delta, and then that other guy got the Aeon or something, and then he made that company Chrono Works or something way back in Voyager. It's hard to remember for me right now, but I can never forget a good ship. Whoa, my mouse just went crazy. Yeah, you don't have a dirty mouse. You should always get new mice. Don't keep using the same old garbage mouse you've had for 30 years. Actually, how old is this thing? Man, this thing might be 20. I don't know. I'm getting scared. I don't want to think about that too much. But it does kind of impede my ability to move cameras around when my mouse is so old and crappy. Yeah, spend $2,000 on the tower, and then you build it, and then you're like, oh, I only got $100 left to spend on the mouse, the keyboard, and the monitor. Oh man, what do I do? I see it often. That's Mark's Design Room. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll be seeing you for Lower Deck Season 5, Episode 1. We'll have the new Dingwall, and we're going to have a good time. This is Merrick signing out, and I'll see you when next time I see you. So long.